guys, does Nintendo need to compete with Sony and Microsoft? One article says they don't. I'm going to say they don't. Now, the reason I'm going to say they don't is different from this article. The reason I say they don't is because they're a gaming company. Microsoft, Sony is not. Both of them. PlayStation and Xbox are not gaming companies. Why in the fuck would a gaming company need to compete with a computer company? Tell me why a gaming company would need to compete with an electronics hardware company. If you can tell me why a gaming company needs to compete with a computer or a electronics hardware developing company in a actual way that makes sense, then I'll agree with you. But chances are you won't be able to. And I will point out the reason why you won't be able to. Are you ready for your mind to be blown? Get this. Guerrilla Games. You know, the people who made Horizon Zero Dawn, that game that everybody makes a petty ass argument over whether or not Breath of the Wild or Horizon Zero Dawn is a great game when both are good. Get ready for this. Guerrilla Games is a third-party fucking studio. Yeah. So when that Sony money dries up, guess what? It's going to do the same thing Remedy did on Xbox. It's going to go, oh, hey, you want to give us money to put our shit on your system? Oh, fuck yeah, we'll do it. That's exactly what the fuck is going to happen. Okay? So stop acting like Guerrilla's only going to make games for the PlayStation 4. I can't stand it when people get all in their fucking emotions and fanboy up for something as stupid as Horizon is better than Zelda. Horizon's only a year old. Zelda's got a fucking legacy, bruh. Not only that, but it's been marked like... And I'm not talking about Breath of the Wild, but I'm talking about Zelda overall. Has been marked like one of the best franchises for like how many fucking decades? 3? Horizon's got a lot of work to do. Horizon's got a lot of work to do. I'm just saying, I've done talked to a lot of people, oh, Horizon's that Zelda killer. It's nowhere near. Nowhere near. And I understand Sony went out on a limb and said, you know, they want Horizon to be one of the mascots for the company. I get that. That's great. But they've got to prove it. So before you go off and lose your shit, remember, they've got to prove it. I mean, they had plenty of mascots back in the PS1. They had plenty of mascots in the PS3. Remember that commercial where they had Killzone characters, Nathan Drake, Kratos from God of War. They were all just sitting in a bar, chilling, and then all of a sudden they said some random ass gamer's name, and they were like, cheers, and I was like, cool, that's a lot of Sony fucking characters in a bar. I was like, cool, maybe they're trying to figure out which one's going to be the face of PlayStation, and then it just vanished. And I thought maybe Sackboy Paws on Little Big Planet was going to be their mascot, because it's noticeable and it doesn't pertain to just kids, because a lot of adults play that fucking game. Sort of like with Mario and how Mario Kart is, and Mario Odyssey and Mario World and Mario Maker and all. Mario's not just for kids. Or even Zelda or Donkey Kong or Diddy Kong or Kirby or Pokemon. All those things. People identify Nintendo with all those things, and a lot of you morons out there consider those kiddie for some fuck reason, even though a lot of you are adults and a lot of kids don't know who the fuck a lot of those are, which is hilarious. If you walk up to a kid right now and you ask him a Mario character outside of Mario, if you try to ask him who Luigi or Waluigi or like Rosalita or somebody else, they'll be like, who? But if you ask a grown-up any of these characters' names, They're like, oh, that's that bitch from fucking Mario. Tell me how that's Kitty. Or sit down with another grown-up and y'all two playing Mario Kart. How is that Kitty? You get what I'm saying to you? Now, again, let's get back to the Nintendo having to fucking be on par with two companies that are not gaming companies. Here's the reason why I say they don't have to. Nintendo's never been about bells and whistles in the same way that Microsoft and PlayStation are. Or Sony, if you will. Nintendo's bells and whistles have always been different. Nintendo's bells and whistles come in the form of like their controller or the way you play the game and experience it. That's their bells and whistles. It always comes back to like the way you handle the game, like say with the 3DS. It's a catchy product. It's I don't know the term I'm looking for here. It's like with the Wii U, okay? It's like with the Wii. It has a perk about it. It's catchy or some shit, okay? That's Nintendo's bells and whistles. Is the product itself. How can we get someone to buy our product? PlayStation and Xbox bells and whistles differ. They actually rely on bells and whistles in the sense of 1080p, 60 frames a second. Blu-ray players, 4K Blu-ray players, upscale 4K. And a whole lot of tech talk that nobody really understands except for computer fucking nerds. Okay, that's their bells and whistles. Along with like Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, and Amazon televisions and WWE networks and shit like that. That's their bells and whistles. That's not really fucking Nintendo's place. Nintendo doesn't rely on that type of shit. They never have. I've never really seen Nintendo to be like, you need to buy our product because we're investing into the Blu-ray technology and we're also going to tell you to put Hulu and Netflix on our... I've never seen them do that. Because they want you to play games. They don't want you to sit there and stream on their product. They want you to play their games. But I've heard PlayStation tell you that for an hour and a half, why you should buy a PlayStation television. I've heard why for an hour you should buy an Xbox One and it's got nothing to do with the fucking games. Instead, it's got to do with HDR and 4K capabilities, which have nothing to do with the fucking games themselves. Why would Nintendo need to compete with this when Nintendo talks about the actual games? You see what I'm saying to you? Why? What in the fuck makes anyone think that a gaming company needs to compete with this? The last time Nintendo actually got in the ring and was going jab for jab and blow for blow, pause, with any kind of competitor, it was a legitimate other gaming company. And I'm talking about Sega here. Okay? That's the last time we saw them actually compete. Why would they get in a ring and compete with two, whiny little bitches that are not gaming companies? Just explain that to me. Because they happen to have games that are more focused on being repetitive and copying one another instead of being original? I don't think Nintendo gives two fucks. And I don't think you want Nintendo to care. Because the moment Nintendo cares about being repetitive and looking like the other guy is the moment the industry really loses. I mean, it's already bad. Consider 3 generations now. Consider 3 generations ago to right now. Look at how bad it's gotten. We don't get the full game at launch. You buy season passes, DLCs, add-ons, and expansions. I mean, that's a lot of shit. And most of it's just for shit that's locked on the disc or not even original content. But it's for shit that you used to get for free. This is all shit you used to get for doing something crazy as hell in the game. Something that a friend would tell you, hey man, I have that game. If you actually go right instead of left, you'll unlock something at the end of the game. Like you'll get a gun that doesn't run out of ammo, or you'll get a special car, or you'll get invincibility, or you'll have infinite lives, or something of that nature. Now you have to pay for that, and it's like $2 to $5. And it's like, why? What the fuck is the point? It's just locked on the disc. Or, you know, they just figured we'll rip it off the disc and we'll give it to Best Buy or we'll give it to GameStop. Why? What the fuck is the point? You know the point of that is because of people like you and me. More so you, because I don't pay for DLC. Unless I fully go ballistic for whatever the fuck the game is, like Batman Arkham Knight, I don't buy DLC. But people buy it. People do. And where do you think it started? It damn sure didn't start with Nintendo. Nintendo didn't even get into DLC until the Wii U. And even then, majority of that shit was free. That was PlayStation and that was Xbox. Charging you for all that shit. And yes, I'm being honest with you. Majority of the DLC that was on the Wii U was free. I don't know how much DLC was on the Wii U, but I know I got a lot of DLC packs from a lot of games on the Wii U that I have, and I never paid for it. They didn't charge me anything for it. But every time there was a DLC pack on the PS4, or there's one on the Xbox One, it's always, hey, give us $10, $15 for this one, or give us $5, $6 for this one. Or even on the 360, it's, you know, $2, $3 for a t-shirt for the Avatar, or it's give us $5, $6 for this little expansion that's painting your fucking guns in a couple of maps. Seriously? Seriously? You realize that you used to get all that for just beating the campaign. Seriously, beat the campaign mode, you unlock shit. Now you're having to pay. And that's because there's idiots out there that'll actually pay money for that. And if you would stop, if you would just say, no, I'm not doing it, pretty much overnight, developers would say they're not paying for it no more. So nobody's going to be working on it. You get what I'm getting at? If you don't pay for it, they stop doing it. And it goes back to the way it used to be. Which means all that shit's available at launch. If you stop paying for broken and busted games, fixed pretty much overnight. Games won't come out nearly as quick, but we'll stop getting them broken and busted. Okay, which is why I've stopped buying a lot of games. Because I don't like the fact that most Xbox and fucking PlayStation games are broken, busted, buggy ass fucking products. Because majority of them bitches are. Even if you don't like that statement, when's the last time you bought a stable fucking game off of either one of those two? It just doesn't fucking happen, okay? Because both of them release day one fucking patches. Both of them bitches do. So again, that brings me back to my statement of, why would a gaming company like Nintendo need to compete with either one of them? I don't think I've had an update day one for anything that was released under Nintendo. I mean, I had one for Mario Maker 3DS, and that was before the game even launched, which is weird. But I made a video about that, and that was for the 3DS. But I haven't had a day one update for anything. Not even Splatoon 2. I've gotten the updates for it since, but I didn't have one for that game. Excuse me. I fucking been sneezing like a fucking crazy man. I fucking don't know why. I think I'm allergic to some shit. When I go to work, I'm fucking sneezing all the time too. But like I said, Why would Nintendo need to compete with Sony or Microsoft? Doesn't make any sense to me, because again, we're talking about a gaming company going in the ring with two that are not. And I understand the whole graphics argument there, but it doesn't fucking matter. I'm used to graphics getting better over time. I mean, come on, you went from 8-bit with the NES, 16-bit with Super Nintendo, then 64 with the 64. That's why it doesn't matter to me. They just get better over time, and even the Switch looks good to me, okay? It doesn't have to you, but it does to me. I'm not a PC gamer, so graphics just don't matter to me. If they do to you, and you're talking about graphics to me, and you're talking about a 4K television, and you want your game to look the best, and you got a PS4 Pro, my question to you is always going to be, why are you on a console? Because if graphics really matter that much to you, shouldn't you be on a PC with like a 32-inch monitor, busting the 4K resolution, and it be curved? Because we all know that's going to be where the best graphics go. I'm just saying, and I'm just pointing that out. You can say that's not true all you want to, but kind of is. And that's just my opinion. Alright, I'm going to end it right there because apparently my nose is going to start going apeshit. Deuces.